following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Welcome to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan. Here on the Morgan Man Sports Podcast, we talk Atlanta Falcons news, pre-game predictions, and all other news surrounding the Atlanta Falcons.
Touchdown, Atlanta!
Also on the podcast, we talk Call of Duty League, esports, covering Roster Mania, major predictions, COD champs, player trades, and much more to get you ready for every single CDL weekend.
Scuff goes through, and Scuff snaps, wins the one-on-one in optic with the reverse sweep.
If that sounds good with you, put on your Falcons jersey, grab your gaming headset, and let's get this show started. What is going on, you guys? I'm your host, Stacy Cole Morgan, and you are listening to the Morgan Man Sports Podcast here on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Goodbod HQ, or wherever you find your preferred podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are talking about head coach Arthur Smith. What is the recent news going on with him? What is the recent news with some offensive coordinator just getting fired from the Buffalo Bills that could possibly land in Atlanta this coming offseason? And my thoughts on how to fix the head coach position for the Atlanta Falcons moving forward if head coach Arthur Smith is indeed fired after this season. So without any further delay, let's go to get straight into today's action. All right, guys, so before we get into all that quickly, I want to thank you guys so much for the support here lately. Guys, you've been absolutely killing it. 20 plus, 30 plus downloads each and every single Friday. And guys, that's all thanks to you and the guys at Belly Up Sports. This is a dream come true right now. I know just 20 or 30 is a small number to some, but hey guys, it's a lot to me, and we can just continue growing by your support each and every single Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are one of the OGs, guys, continue hitting that like button, continue downloading, share it with your friends and family, because again, it's only up from here, and it's all thanks to you guys. So now, since we got that out of the way, let's talk about head coach Arthur Smith. So in a recent tweet and / article, if you want to say, from Jeff Schultz from The Athletic, this is, and I quote, a tweet from Jeff Schultz. Arthur Blank is not going to fire Arthur Smith this week or next week or likely anytime soon. The Falcons owner is expected to let this season play out, and that is the right move. But Smith knows he has to start winning. So I agree with Jeff Schultz. I really do. This is the right call because we are still in playoff contention right now for winning our division, hosting a home playoff game to whoever comes in, probably like a Seattle or, someone just crazy like that. I'm just going off the top of my head. But that would be the improvement that we're looking for. But Arthur Smith knows his seat is hot, and he's got to start winning now. Not next week, not next year, now. He has to win out this season pretty much. And if he does, at least make us to the playoff game where you get that extra year of, okay, the seat is still a little hot. We made it to the playoff game, but we need to make it to our championship conference game or the Super Bowl and win it. I will link the Twitter post or X post, whatever you want to call it, in the description below for you guys to check that out from Jeff Schultz. And then from there, you click on theathletic.com to read his full article. The offense coordinator position has been somewhat of a topic here recently. Our current OC that we have, ladies and gentlemen, is Dave Ragone from, I believe it is the Chicago Bears. So Dave Ragone, he's our current OC. And the recent firing of an OC is from the Buffalo Bills, and that is Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator. So you're sitting here thinking to yourself, okay, well, what does this guy do with Atlanta? Well, a lot of Falcons fans actually has just went to the Buffalo Bills X profile or Twitter profile and say, all right, Ken Dorsey, welcome to Atlanta because we need you. And I mean, that was near about the entire comment section. It really was. And I would be definitely a huge fan of having Ken Dorsey coming to Atlanta being the offense coordinator. I really would. But I know we can't just hire him right now mid-season and get rid of Dave Ragon. We can't just do that. We have to wait to the offseason to let Dave Ragon probably become like an assistant offense coordinator, and then let Ken Dorsey come in to be the actual main guy at the offense coordinator position. That could be a possibility, but I would really like this move right here. Some people said they were against it, but if you really think about it, Ken Dorsey didn't do nothing wrong. He's not out here telling Josh Allen to throw multiple picks. He's not telling these guys, all right, hey, drop the ball right there. We're not going to score on this drive. I don't care what you say. There's nothing about what he was doing was his fault. He was leading a top 5 offense, for crying out loud, and the Buffalo Bills let him go. So this just explains why the Buffalo Bills are not going to ever win a Super Bowl or win the big game at the end of it all. It's not going to happen. So, but for the Buffalo Bills, Joe Brady will serve as the interim offense coordinator while Ken Dorsey has been relieved of his duties, and hopefully he makes his way to Atlanta, Georgia this coming offseason. So now let's talk about how we can fix the head coach position for the Atlanta Falcons if head coach Arthur Smith is indeed fired this offseason. So I was just talking about Ken Dorsey being the OC. Now let's talk about Ryan Nielsen being the defense coordinator, the DC. Let those guys stay at their positions. I know eventually they're wanting to put their name out there for the head coaching position. I get that. I understand it. You want to move up in the NFL to become a head coach for, your childhood favorite team, etc., etc. I get that. I really do. But for the Atlanta Falcons case, I'm just looking for a guy that knows the kind of technical aspects of the game. And what I mean by technical aspects is throwing the challenge flags, calling those timeouts, clock management, rotation of the players, and whatever else that the head coach does. That's all I want my head coach to do. Let a offensive mastermind, let's just say, Ken Dorsey, because he runs a top 5 offense, or did, let him just run the offense. Don't let him touch nothing else that even revolves around a head coaching job. Or don't let Ryan Nielsen nowhere near a head coaching position, not especially for the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, my gosh, we haven't had success like that in many years, because our last time that we hired someone that was a mastermind of the defense was Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, of course, he led the Legion of Boom. Okay, good. And, that's what we thought we needed. And we were a mid-tier defense under Dan Quinn, but I believe he wasn't calling the plays then during our Super Bowl run. Then Raheem Morris, if I'm not mistaken, 2017 season was in the top 10 defense. Dan Quinn still didn't call it. But then from 2018 to his firing in 2020, he was calling the plays. We were bottom of the tier defense. Not the top, the bottom. So that was our mistake, and then we let him go. We let him go to Dallas, and now he's running the top 5 defense. That is, I believe, the curse that the Atlanta Falcons have had a huge problem in when it comes to hiring a head coach. you let the player or the coach come in knowing just one thing and expect them to do the head coaching duties as well. That takes a lot away from their true aspect of what they truly know, and that is calling defensive or offensive plays. So my solution, like I've been saying here, is hire a guy that knows his ins and outs of football, of calling timeouts, throwing the challenge play or flags, rotation players, and many more other head coaching duties that are needed to win you the game. Clock management as well. Forgot to mention that one again. All those things that the head coach needs to worry about in game, let that one particular person worry about that. Let your OC and DC do their jobs of what they do the best. Okay? That's all you need to worry about if you are the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons in the 2024-25 season. Again, that's all you need to worry about. Going forward is just clock management, rotation of players, calling timeouts when needed, and other things that the head coach needs to do. So, guys, do you agree with me that the OC and the DC needs to stay where they're at if you are coming to Atlanta? So, hope you all enjoy, and if you did, make sure to like button wherever you are listening from, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your preferred podcasts. But until then, I'm Ken Morgan. We'll catch you all later. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.